with us? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you. Okay, we got a public comment policy statement that we read. If there's anybody from the public that wants to make a comment to the board, they will need to go over to the table on the side there and read the script and fill out the form and then give it to this young lady. At the beginning of the meeting, we will reserve about 30 minutes for public comments, but you only get 3 minutes to speak on your topic. The board will not respond. Okay, everybody look the consent agenda over.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Miller, second by Jones to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Next up is public comments. Anybody over there want to speak? You just fill out the forward, state your name and address. You got 3 minutes. Okay,
Hi, my name is Shauna Kekoe. I live on South Wabash Avenue. My property is adjacent to the South Google plant. And I understand that they're in the works of building another one on North Wabash. They're doing soil testing and water testing right now to connect to the plant that I live next to. There's a lot of your constituents, they're against this in the community because it's a 2-lane highway. Aside from the environmental impact that it's gonna have, it's also going to, the traffic is already crazy. I'm going next to the courthouse. I just spoke to the mayor and I'm going to file a nuisance report because I didn't, we've let it go for 20 years. I came here 20 years ago when this started and I was told it was gonna be a 5-year project, my husband and I. And it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I've tried to connect to Google. I'm going to be going to Nebraska and speaking to some of the senators over there. I'm going to be speaking to some of the senators in Iowa. I'm going to try and get it out because living in Council Bluffs, we moved over here because we're horse people. We have a big horse community that's really pretty much between Iowa and Nebraska. And I'm going to speak to them and, discourage them from moving over here and buying land in that area and buying because it's not safe. I mean, that many data plans in a short and property values. I used to be a realtor and I hate to do that, but, it just seems, I went to a city council meeting and it feels like everything I said, except for the mayor, fell on deaf ears. Because that's a lot of data centers in a small piece of land for a small community. So, let's see, I talked to the city engineer and they're sending me a packet because I wanted to get latitude and longitude and permits. But, they're mailing that out to me because I have to go through, I guess, some kind of form to do that. So I'm hoping to hear from that and getting in with the press and, I hate to discourage people to move into our community. I don't mean the whole community of Council Bluffs or #1 in cancer already in the country. And the data centers don't help. So that's basically all I had to say. Thank you. I appreciate you coming, letting me speak. And I will be going over to that. I'm going to spread the word as much as I can.
thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shauna.
Shauna Anderson, 19377 340th Street in Oakland. I actually was at the city council meeting where Shauna was at, and I know I've spoken to you guys a few times about this. So I would just like to come before you again today to ask you to please, even if it's just having a study session, looking at what some of the other counties are doing for ordinances on water usage and electricity usage, especially for me personally, the water usage. I worry about it a lot. I know that Crescent just put a lot of money into their wastewater facilities. We do not have the infrastructure for the wastewater facilities to be able to process all of this additional wastewater. And I've talked to you multiple times about the water evaporation causing the nitrates to be higher, and we know that our nitrates just keep getting higher and higher in our water. Look at Des Moines, look at all the water issues that we've had. So I'm just going to ask again that you look at, if nothing else, putting in some ordinances for water and power usage of any facilities that come into our county.
Thank you.
Just for the board, data centers is not an approved use in our county code. And if and until the board decides to put an ordinance together, they won't be allowed to come. So we're in good shape, right, Matt?
We're the most restrictive we can be right now.
And the Google expansion is in the city limits, correct? Council Bluffs?
They'll annex it. I'm sorry.
No,
You're okay.
Yeah, I think they have options out on some more ground, and that's what would be, they would annex it in to be able to expand their plant. That was what they were planning on.
Is this above the second phase? That is the second phase.
No.
They're going third
Even
phase?
When I spoke to their head, with J.E. Dunn, their head contractor, they weren't even transparent to him. So he gave my message to the supervisor of Google, and I emailed and emailed. I finally got a hold of their counsel, their head council member, attorney. And he's trying to get someone to reach out to me. But no, this is not part of the phase. That's a misnomer. This is because the land hasn't been sold by Fisher yet to Google, so it can't really be part of the phase that they had planned. This is not part of the plan because they're doing 6 new buildings. I do believe they took out some of your, what do you call it? Water conservative land or conservative water. It's the wetlands, some of the wetlands out.
They gotta mitigate that.
Yeah, I don't know if they've talked about that or not, but yeah, that's happening too.
but as of right now, Matt, outside of the city limits of Council Bluffs, there's no data centers in Pot County,
Correct.
and there's none planned for Potawatomi County.
Correct. We didn't have, like I said, we'd have to adopt an ordinance making an allowable land use for a data center to be constructed in rural Potawatomi County.
Thank you. Thanks for coming to speak in. Next up, scheduled sessions, introduce new hires to the board. Are there any in here today? None. Okay. Next up, Matt Wyatt, Director of Planning and Development, public hearing on amendment to the urban renewal plan for the Heartland Ridge Urban Renewal.
Ryan, I'll make a motion to open the public hearing on amendment to the Harlan Ridge Urban Renewal Area Plan.
I'll second that.
Motion by Miller, a second by Jorgensen. Will you please do a roll call? Jane?
Chairman Chang,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman,
Right.
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Jones,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Aye.
Hey, Matt, you're up.
Well, this is the amendment to the urban renewal plan. Heartland's subdivision sits off of Pioneer Trail. Dumfries just in the southwest corner of that. The developer had asked for an amendment to this urban renewal plan. So that way we can amend the development agreement because the designs of the roads had changed where we're gonna add in now stormwater, curb and gutter to that project. And at the same time, then the developer is proposing a name change, and it's gonna change the name of it as well from the Heartland Ridge subdivision to Legacy Ridge subdivision. And so the amounts on that are going from $4 million in the plan to $5 million in the plan. The total amount of that with administration fees on that would be $5,025,000. And those are all, it's up to amounts, right? The documentation has to be submitted to support the expenses on public infrastructure.
Questions, comments?
Click here.
No, there are. Anybody want to speak in favor? Yes.
I'm in favor of that. That's, will bring people into the community of.
You should come to the podium, state your name and address. When you s- It's just a formality. Name and address.
On Gateway 21327 Ashwood Lane, House West Island 51503. I'm in favor of that. I live right down the street from Pioneer Trail. There's a lot of older homes. And there are some that Jim Hughes built along the highway, but hopefully this Google thing gets straightened out. I'm sorry to go back to Google, but it will make for more affordable housing. It will make for more housing for military, if we can work things out. I'm happy to promote that in Bellevue, in the military community, because, we need more housing over here. We need, and people want small areas that are out of town, but still you're close to town. That's why we bought where we did. So yeah, I think he's got a great idea. I think whoever this developer is has a great idea. I think there's a great idea there. To my knowledge, they're medium priced housing. Is that correct?
But,
Are they medium priced housing,
no, they'll be high-end housing.
high end housing? Well, we still need more housing.
Yeah,
So,
we do.
if you want to, like get some of the people that are getting ready to retire from the military and that want to, that might be a place that they want to retire. We can do something with the community.
Good.
They don't have to drive by a couple of monstrosities.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else in favor? Okay, anyone opposed?
Motion closed.
Second.
Okay, thank you. A motion by Whitman, a second by Miller to close the public hearing. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call.
Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen,
Aye.
Supervisor Jones,
Aye.
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Okay, we are closed on the public hearing.
One question, Matt. I can either ask it now or at the next item on the agenda. When will we get to see the developer agreement? It has to be amended, right?
Yeah, so the developer just got it back to me. The amendments have been done. I sent it to the developer for their review. They just sent it back to me with a couple of questions. It's out, our attorneys again. As soon as I get it back, I'll forward it out to the board. It's gonna come before the board on August 4th, I believe.
When?
August 4th,
Okay,
is that right?
next week.
Okay,
All
good,
right.
good. Thank you, Matt. Okay. Next up, need a motion to approve for the amendment to the urban renewal plan for Heartland Ridge Urban Renewal Area.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Okay. Anybody questions? This is not a public hearing. This is just approving the amendment. Questions, comments?
Is it a roll call?
Yes, it is. We got a motion and a second. Just wondered if anybody's got comment or question. Will you do a roll call, please?
Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Supervisor Miller.
Aye.
Sorry, I meant Chairman Shea. Supervisor Wickman.
Aye.
Supervisor Jones,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Motion carried. Next up, Matt Wyatt, Director of Planning and Development, discussion and or decision to authorize the board to sign resolution number 49/2026 to approve urban renewal plan amendment for the Heartland Ridge subdivision urban renewal area.
Just the final.
Correct.
I'll make that motion to approve resolution number 49/2026.
I'll second the motion.
Any comments, questions? Motion by Miller, second by Jones to approve resolution 49, 2026. Will you do a roll call, please?
Chairman Tay,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller. Supervisor Jones.
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Motion carried. Thank you. Next up, Matt Wyatt, Planning and Development. Discussion under decision to approve first consideration of ordinance number 2026-04 entitled an ordinance providing for the division of taxes levied on taxable property in the July 2026 addition to Legacy Ridge subdivision urban renewal area pursuant to section 403.19 of the Code of Iowa and set date for second consideration.
So the last meeting, we repealed the TIF ordinance related to this subject. This is now adopting the new TIF ordinance for this subdivision. First consideration, and then we'd like to have second consideration set for the August 4th meeting as well.
Motion, anybody?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. I'll second. Questions, comments?
And I think this is probably a canned ordinance, but if you look at section 1, where it says the division of taxes, it mentions the city, the state. There's no state or city benefit off of this, right? On as far as taxes go.
No, I believe that would just be to stay in line with the state ordinance on there because it each year by and for the benefit of the state, city, county, school districts, or other taxing districts after the effective date. So, I mean, you're listing out all of your,
Possibilities.
So you like it, right?
it came from the experts themselves, so
Okay. You have a motion for
I
that.
trust in them.
Yes.
I do. Jones, and seconded by Jorgensen.
I don't have,
All right. Will you do a roll call again, Jamie?
Chairman Tay,
Aye.
Supervisor Jones.
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried. All right, we want to recognize Todd Carnes, equipment operator, secondary roads, for his 26 years of dedicated service and his retirement. Andy, he didn't want to come in, huh?
He's busy working, but yeah, so Todd started in the 1900s. So
Wow.
1999, August
Okay.
1999. And yeah, after almost 27 years of service to the county, he has decided to retire. So yeah,
Good
he's
for him.
mowing out near Highway 59 right now.
We've got a card and a commemorative coin from the Board of Supervisors. We'd like to present to him. If you would do that for us.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Andy. Of course. I think the board would like to say thank you, Todd, for all your work
yeah.
and
When's his last,
dedication.
sorry. When's his last day?
His last day is this Friday. So yeah, he wanted to get his mowing routes done one more time, is what he said. So.
He probably just didn't want to come see us.
This morning, so
Dedication.
yeah, I'll make sure I get this to him.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all.
Appreciate that.
I know that people along his route really appreciate his maintenance over the years.
Next up, Jamie Barron's Deputy Auditor, and for Matt Wyatt, Director of Planning Developments. Discussion and/or decision to approve and authorize board chairman to sign engagement letter with Dorsey Whitney LLP, establish Pioneer Meadows Urban Renewal Area and TIF District for the area and authorize a development agreement.
So this is our engagement letters with our TIF attorneys This is for the housing subdivision, which would be Pioneer Trail and Dumfries to the east, the Jim Hughes development over there. Things to know on this engagement letter is that there's expecting their legal fees to be up to $10,000 on it, and the developers will pay half of that with us. But that just allows them to then go to work on the Pioneer Trail or the Pioneer Meadows housing subdivision phase. This is gonna be phase one that they're getting ready to come into us with.
Matt, did they sell a few of those lots already?
They had, I believe it was close to 14 lots that they were able to do just through the split process. And yes, some of those lots have been sold and constructed on. So this will be, I believe that their first phase is 38 lots
Okay.
that'll be going in there.
What's the total there?
So they have provided us with, they're expected on this phase one, and I want to say it's, was 1.9 million is what they're looking at. Their cost for public improvements.
And are their lots an acre plus?
Acre plus, yes. They will have water, to them, but some of their lots do go over, 2 acres just by the layout at which they have. So, but they will still have, water. There will not be wells associated with that.
Be good.
Matt, you mentioned that the developer will pick up half of those legal counsel bills, which is 5,000.
Correct.
You have an agreement with them on that?
That will be in the development agreement that we sign with them.
When's that one coming?
They have a few steps to go.
It'll be in writing.
Yes.
Questions?
Did you get what you needed on that, Brian?
No,
Is that your recommendation to pass that, Matt?
Yes.
All right, I'll
Yeah.
move it.
thank you. Thank you. A motion by Wickman, a second by Jones to approve the engagement letter, to sign the engagement letter with Dorsey Whitney for Pioneer Meadows Urban Renewal Area and TIP District. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Matt. Matt Wyatt, Director, Planning and Zoning, discussion and our decision to authorize the chairman to sign into a 2080 agreement with the Iowa Department of Natural Resources for delegation to designated county permitting agencies of the department's permit issuing authority with respect to private water well construction, reconstruction, and abandonment, as provided in Iowa Code Chapter 455B with Pottawatomie County. Matt?
The DNR started this a few years ago where they wanted us to be in a 28E agreement with them. Pottawatomie County has always been the permitting authority or agency for private water wells, at least since the 1970s. And I think this just formalizes that with the Iowa DNR. And we'll continue to provide the same service to the residents that we have. When it's a public water supply, they go to the Iowa DNR for their permitting. Private water wells for your regular rural acreages and or farms are done through our office.
So this doesn't change how we've been operating. It just
Correct.
formalizes it. It's not an agreement we've entered into previously with the DNR.
It is an agreement that we have. We had it last year. Last year, they did not have the Board of Supervisors signing off on it. I think it was a change this year to add the Board of Supervisors on, so. Or maybe it was last year, the Board of Supervisors on there. The year before that, maybe it was the Board of Health. They're kind of working through a process to narrow down their contracts.
Matt, the state doesn't sign off on every well permit, do they?
Only public water supplies. We sign off on all of the private water wells.
Okay.
We load those into a database for the state of Iowa. So the state has tracking on them, and the well logs and everything like that get entered into it, and as well as any water testings that were done get entered into that well database as well.
Do we ask the primary use of a well
We do,
before we give a permit?
yes.
Okay. What is the reason to use 25,000 gallons per day or more? What's the state's, what are they trying to get to here?
The state has water usage permits. And so, the only example that I can tell you about that I've been involved with would be the Crescent Quarry. We had some residents come to us, years ago and state that their water wells were being affected by the Crescent Quarry, and they're pumping in water down below the water table and things like that. And so the DNR did come out and review what their water usage permit was, and are they staying within the confines of that with them.
Are we required to, if somebody come up to you and said, I want a well permit for 30,000 gallons a day, are we required to permit that?
I would contact the DNR first, our office would, to make sure that that was acceptable.
That'd be a feedlot?
No, I don't even think a feedlot would use that kind of water per day. I don't know what use would generate that. I mean, you know, like convenience stores, we've dealt with them, and so I have some idea on them on the backside, on the septic side of them, right? They have to do a water usage to do it. In your average convenience stores, because of their soda machines and things, they'll run anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 gallons per day.
Run between what? Well,
3,000 to 5,000 gallons per
3
day.
to 5?
Yeah,
5,000 is a lot of water.
it'd be a lot of water.
I have a couple other questions for you, Matt. I'll get to you after the meeting.
Okay.
I just hope we're not setting ourselves up for, I don't know, if it's a state law, I guess they can do whatever they want.
All of the guidelines that we enforce in conformance with private well construction is state code. And we do receive, so part of that, we receive the grants to counties program, which is funding directly from the state to us. That can be either cost share for plugging wells, cost share for well rehabilitations. We provide free water testing to rural residents. They can also get funding back for shock chlorination of their wells out there. And our allotment last year, I believe it started out in the mid-40s. And by the time we had all the reallotments done, we had been close to $100,000, and we still ran out of money for the month of June to be able to cost share any more of those. The state had dropped the funding to us this next year to where we're in the 30s. But we're always able to, keep that service going and get the reallotments from the states, from the smaller counties that can't, because the state does a blanket on those. So they'll just say, every county, regardless, you're awarded $40,500 for this program. And then about midway through, they'll do a reallotment of that. Obviously, the smaller ones aren't going to spend that, so they send it to the larger ones who can utilize those funds.
Okay.
And that helps with the cost of us loading the well databases up, GPSing well points.
Any other questions, comments?
So Matt, does this interfere with anything that our cities would be doing to drill new wells?
No,
We don't have overreach over the cities. I mean, the cities would be working with the DNR independently, I would think.
correct, because that is a public water supply, so those permits do not come through us. If somebody in a town was approved to drill a private well, then we have done those in towns before.
I just see the language on here about if anybody's going to drill into the Jordan aquifer, that it's part of this agreement. So that's what made me think about the other cities. And
Yep. Even your businesses out there in the county that are drilling a well for a public water supply, that goes to directly to the Iowa DNR. We're not involved in those because it's a higher standard of construction and testing.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. I'll second that. Okay, motion by Miller, second by Jorgensen to sign into a 2080 agreement with the DNR on permitting for wells. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. David Bayer, Chief Information Officer, Information Technology, and Anthony McCartney, IT Supervisor and Information Security Officer. Information Technology discussion or decision on funding for virtualization, hardware, storage, and backups. Hi, David. Hey, sir. Anthony.
Well, good morning. Thank you for this conversation. So we were here back on June 30th for a study session to talk about this topic. And we're here now because we have quotes, which are represented in the document I just sent you or handed you. The document that I just handed you is the same one that I emailed last week. So no changes there. The basic problem that we're trying to solve is our virtualization software, VMware, essentially is trying to price us out. They don't really want Potawatomi County as a customer. So we have looked for various solutions. We've landed on one that we like called Proxmox. But to move to Proxmox away from VMware, there are trickle down or ripple effects, namely the backup solution. And we would need some hardware to do the migration. And so that problem does have the ripple effects of that. I've given you 3 different options. One is to stay put, do nothing. One is to buy 1 cluster and some storage and the backup system now. Option 3 is to do 2 clusters, storage and backup system now. And in the document I gave you, there's a whole outline of how we're wanting to spread out the cluster purchases to flatten out future budgets. And it gets semi-complicated there, but I just wanted to communicate that to you as well. But really, we're just here to offer some options for the solution or for the problem that we have and looking for guidance from you guys on what you think we ought to do or how we should move forward. And I have all the numbers outlined in the document as well. So we're open to questions, however you would like to proceed there.
Well, I spoke with Steve Lynn about this, and I would, just whatever the board wants to do, but I would like to see the board have a capital plan discussion before we move forward on any of this. I know that there's a couple of other departments that are gonna come to us with some requests that probably should be looked at too. And I think that, of course, I'm gonna listen to your recommendation and that of Anthony's, but as things get tighter and tighter with the state allowing us to grow, I hope that you guys would be willing to look at what other options do we have that we can minimize some costs. But that would be my suggestion. Are we on a, is this time sensitive, David?
It is. So on the first page there, you can see the VMware pricing increasing roughly 20% per year. And then after that 29-30 year, we're done with VMware really. We have to move to something because they're gonna not want us as customers anymore. They want to move us to something else that's going to be much more expensive and really not what we want. The other time sensitive thing is every day we wait, these items get more expensive. I do have a email saying that the backup system the prices are gonna change on 8/1, which is, this weekend. So as we wait, I'm not saying that to cause pressure, I'm just saying that's what they're telling me is the prices for these systems are going up, and namely because there's a high demand for these items. And so as we wait, the prices just go up. I know for sure the backup system that I have in there for 147, 859 and 40 cents will be a different number on 8/1.
How much do you think that'll be?
I have no idea.
Well, if you look at the annual licensing, if we took time, put together a capital plan, where funding, not just for this, but other projects go, to stay with VMware, it costs us 13,000. Is that accurate, David?
Between 27, 28 and
No, I'm looking, we're 26, 27, we're paying 81 now, right? Okay, that's through June, right? June of 27?
correct.
Okay. So there's no cost there, right?
Right.
Okay.
But
What-
if we spill over to next year, to do the work of migrating isn't, just a flip of a switch. It'll take us a year to do the work or 8 months or whatever. That's my concern is that we spill over to the next fiscal year, we have to pay the 98. Again, that's just telling you how long it'll take. And anyway,
What's a hardware cluster, David?
is a group of servers.
How many of them do we have?
10 between the 4 different clusters. So courthouse has 4, 911 has 3, and the sheriff's office also has 3. We have 4 at the DR site, but that gets hand-me-down hardware. So we have 10 that we actually buy on a regular basis every 5.
What's the cost of one?
Depends on which one, but if you look at the page 4, the bottom, I've got 2 little asterisks there. Roughly 24K for a 911 server and 35K for a courthouse or sheriff. We call it Big Lake BL server.
We have 10 of them, you said, right?
Correct.
But you have, in the plan that you provided us, let's just say we look at option 3, which is your best that's your best recommendation, or the best scenario. We're replacing 3 of them there.
In that scenario, we would replace 6. The Big Lake or sheriff's office and 911. So
And the 4 at the courthouse then.
the 4 at the courthouse will be replaced in 2 years. We've laid on that.
You said 6.
Right, we have 3 at 901 and 3 at Big Lake. That's.
Oh.
And then we would wait 2 years and do the 4 for the courthouse then.
Will you come back to us at that time for?
It'll be part of the budget,
That would be in your budget?
correct.
Is there anything in your budget at this time for this?
40K. And then I don't know how available this is to you, but we also returned 130 back from last fiscal year. I don't know how available that is today, but it is money that we didn't spend last year.
David, you're recommending option 3. Is that what I'm understanding?
Correct.
When we had the last discussion, that was your,
I don't know that I made a recommendation. That's the ideal one because it saves 150,000 over the next 5 years. It spreads our cluster purchases out and flattens future budgets. In other words, if we're replacing, next year is our normal replacement cycle for these clusters. If we replace all 10 every 5 years, that's a big bump or spike in our budgeting. So if we can do better at that and spread those out and do 6 one time and then skip a couple of years and do 3 or do 4, and then every 3 years, we do 6 or 4, 6 or 4, that's flattening instead of doing 10. Does that make, what I'm saying? So option 3 gets us that spacing. Um, and of course, it allows us to move to Proxmox faster and away from VMware because now we'll have 2 spare clusters to then do the shell game of moving production to these new ones quicker. So I don't know if that makes sense. It's hard to explain, but it's a shell game. What I mean by that is we have clusters now, but we can't move to Proxmox without spare clusters.
And we have 4 buckets of water. We need a 5th just to move the water to get it out of one of the other buckets to change it, basically.
So you've got a list here of primary applications that operate within this virtual environment. And are the departments working well with you to keep you on pace with knowing what's in the horizon or what updates or these systems are going to need to be replaced? Or, I mean, is your recommendation just based on what we have today without any expectation for additional or changes in the next 3 years?
Right. This is not based on future applications or what have you. But I'll be honest, that's the beauty of virtualization, is we can spin up a server quickly. If a new application shows up, we can do that quickly. I'm not concerned about not having enough resources for future projects. And over time, we most likely will be decreasing resources as more things move to the cloud. We're having a conversation the other day about most of our new systems aren't in our what I would call our personal cloud. Most new systems are the cloud, right? So whether that's AWS or Azure or some other thing similar to that. I don't know if I'm answering the question, but this doesn't necessarily look at future growth. We're staying pretty status quo when it comes to the resources that we're offering. We're not necessarily growing in that way. We're not a Fortune 500 company that's opening new offices all over the world. We're pretty static when it comes to the kinds of applications and systems that we spin up or create.
We can predict growth for the most part based off of how we're, what we're currently using in the projects that come. Because more often than not, someone's asking us about a big project like that a year or 2 before we actually go and have to put it in place. If we determine we don't have enough resources, we go and add it into staggered either replacement cycle where we get more resources in a new node, or we have to evaluate either bringing a server or special hardware into that project as part of that cost. So we would evaluate the large ones when it comes to those, but more often than not, we've got plenty of space to be able to balance out smaller projects or smaller needs or even mid-sized projects without overutilizing what we currently have.
Does AI play anything into this?
Was that?
AI?
No.
Okay. I mean, that's coming on so strong.
You want AI?
I don't know.
Okay, I would say no.
I don't know.
We're not playing.
Department.
Yeah, the only AI that we deal with is getting people access to the various other platforms that exist, but we don't have an AI platform internally, so.
I mean, every day you hear new stuff about it and I can't keep up.
No, that would be a different conversation. That's a whole, but yeah, we're not at that point. I don't think we'll be there for a while.
David, what's your time frame of putting contracts together? Let's just say the board give you a direction to move forward and spend $400,000. What's the time frame before contracts come back to the board?
So I have the quotes right now. And so I would then go ahead and sign those and get that ball rolling. And then we would wait for them to arrive, the actual hardware. It might be October before the hardware shows up. We won't get it in a week. It's not that fast. And then we would start the project of migrating one by one.
But the only real contract probably with Proxmox for support, and that would be getting.
That'd be a future, yeah.
Anthony, Proxmox, licensing with Proxmox would probably be the only real contract that gets written up per se for this project. And that's based on whatever their cost is to get enterprise licensing and support. But we're still we got a couple different leads on who we're gonna work with on that, but we really can't do a whole lot with them until we have an environment in place for them to even look at to see what they can and can't do.
Hmm. Long term, there's a cost savings.
But I like the detail that went into this presentation. I mean, there was a lot of thought that went into it. And I agree with you that option 3 would be the best.
Mhm.
But I also believe we need to look at capital plan and that asterisk under, behind the backup pricing that increases Saturday isn't, I mean, we just can't, in my opinion, we can't let that trigger a knee-jerk reaction today. I think we need to figure out where it fits into the master plan for the county budget.
Are any of our systems at risk, David, with VMware?
No, VMware is a wonderful, stable environment. We're happy with VMware. We're not leaving because we don't like it. We're leaving because the pricing is getting out of. The only thing that is at risk is our current backup solution. I owe maintenance on that, which is the 40,000 that I referenced earlier. And we're kind of in between. Do I pay them and pay for another year of maintenance with our current backup solution? Or are we not going to do that and go with this new backup solution? But we're kind of living in limbo right now and so they are being gracious with us right now because they know that a decision is looming. But technically, we're outside of maintenance on that.
We're lucky that we have the contract we have, because I've talked to several other counties and they're getting cease and desist and then physical audits of their hardware from Broadcom for usage. So we got the contract till the end of this period of time, so we don't have to worry about it at this point. But if you're gonna say if there's a risk, that'll be towards the end of the contract when they cease allowing us to use this product anymore. And that would be a cease and desist, and then the threat of legal action or someone coming in and taking a look at it. But we've got, 3-4 years for that.
David, if you receive the hardware in, say, I don't know, October, November, and we decide to move, would there be any issues getting things done before the fiscal year ends?
It'll be tight. I think we can get it accomplished. I believe that. But that would be our number one goal, to be done by June of next year, so that we don't spill over into another year of VMware support.
Then you have to pay for another year of maintenance.
Yes, but it is prorated. In other words, when we cancel, they will give us back whatever the prorated amount for that year is. So I would probably, if we spilled over into July next year, we would pay them 98. But if we got done in July 15th, for example, they'd owe us for 350 days back, whatever that number is. But I don't want to do that because that makes things weird, because that means the money goes back to the general fund and out of the IT budget. I don't want to do that either. You know what I'm saying?
So other than the price increase, we know nothing about starting Saturday. That's our only hitch in this right now. And I think I agree with Supervisor Wickman that we do need to study capital plan. And as we've got other things on the table, it'd help us as a board to decide what way to go and how much to go. Okay,
Sure. Just an idea out there.
I agree with Supervisor Miller. This is a good presentation. I do agree that Plan 3 is the best. Option 3, it looks the best. We've talked about that. And
Glenn, when do you think you could have numbers available for the board to have. Capital plan.
That capital plan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of research to go through and see, how it had been presented previously. If you guys have some time, we could talk about how it was presented to you.
So we,
And what information you have, and then I think I can pull some information together. I do have an IT ticket out right now, so I'm with, it's all the way up to date, but
Would a study session work for next Tuesday, or are we a little premature there?
it might be early, but I think it's a good idea to make
Start.
it happen. Yeah, just to get a starting off
Can we
point.
put that on the agenda and start one next week? If we need to extend it, we can go another week.
Okay.
Then we can make a better decision for IT.
David, you said that October was the earliest if you get the word to go on this.
That's when we're kind of guessing the hardware will be shipped to us, but I don't control that, so I can't tell you that that will happen for sure. The hardware, you know, everyone's ordering hardware for their data centers and their AI initiatives, and so that's what makes things like this.
There's not a lot of work involved. It's swapping out.
No, there is a lot of it.
There is, I mean,
There is a lot of work, yeah.
He's just got a great
6
team.
or 8 months of work.
Talking to somebody else who made the exact same move that we did in another county, they did their backup solution. They found it was quicker to take this stuff, back it up, and then recover it into the environment, the new environment, than it was to try and just transfer from one to the other. They had a better seamless, it went faster for them, and it actually worked, I'd say, better. But that would be, this backup solution works with Proxmox. The one that's in here works with Proxmox and VMware, but the one we currently have only works with VMware and end of life as well. But if we were to do it server by server, it would take a lot longer than it would the other way. But there's a lot of work. You have to convert it, add drivers, fix things, whatever.
so it's not just a matter of unplugging one server. plugging
No,
in another.
I wish it was as easy
This
as
is a
copy
major
paste.
project for monetarily and time-wise. It's a big lift.
are we as an IT department capable of doing that conversion?
Mostly, we'll reach out to a vendor for some insight and some help, and we're just right before this meeting, we were over at Sarpy County meeting with their team who did this very same thing 10 months ago. So we're developing those relationships so that we can have support. But we would probably work with a vendor for a small, I can handle that within the IT budget. But
And it's gonna process now.
it'll be but yes, we can do it internally.
You seem to have a lot of money in your budget, David. Maybe we better pick up the budget.
We can talk about that.
Okay. No,
If we're gonna have a study session next week, we should probably invite Jason Slack as well, because that's our other big concern, the HVAC.
well, I think that, if we go to our initial one, and then it was, this is just just thinking out loud. And Steve Lynn can give us numbers for the general fund reserves, gaming revenue, land fund, capital projects fund, and those numbers. And then I think we have another one real quickly after that, and get our departments in here. I know that conservation has, will be having a request. We have issues at the jail with IT. And then I think when we build a capital plan, we should reach out to every department and see if there's any capital needs that they have too. That's just me.
I like it. I like the plan. Let's put it on the agenda for next week and we can get going, and thank you for coming in.
Thank you for.
Thanks for the info. That's good info.
Of course.
David, Anthony, thanks.
Welcome.
Appreciate everything you've done there.
And if you find out what the updated prices are next week, that would be helpful too. So,
Do that. Yep. Okay.
Okay, thank you guys.
thank-
Maybe it'll drop.
What's that, Keith?
Maybe it'll drop.
yeah.
That'd be nice.
Unlikely.
When computers first came in, they said, oh gosh, it's gonna be so efficient. You're gonna save so much money. I don't think that's happened.
They do that with everything. Next up, Andy Wicks, engineer, discussion on their decision for board chairman to sign a federal aid agreement number 4-26-CHBP-019 between Potawatomi County and the Iowa Department of Transportation for a competitive highway bridge program project of County Bridge Right-03 on M47 over the Little Walnut Creek. Andy?
Yeah, so little history, the Competitive Highway Bridge Program, CHBP, is a national bridge infrastructure program. The Federal Highway Administration allocates around $300 million a year towards this, 350. And every year, the Iowa Department of Transportation applies on behalf of all 99 counties. They submit a bundle of bridges, and we included Right 3 in that bundle.
Okay.
And so of that $300 million at the federal level, Iowa got about $30 million. So we got more than our share, which is a good thing. And then within that $30 million, Potawatomi County was selected by the Iowa DOT to be the lead of a bundle. So it's us, Page County, and Guthrie County. So Potawatomi County, our secondary roads, is in charge of administering our bucket of money for this bundle of bridges. And yeah, so my recommendation to the board is to sign this agreement
I like it.
on behalf of, Potawatomi.
Anything to help with the bridges.
Exactly. So this bridge was identified before I got here as a concern, but yeah, it is absolutely time to improve this bridge.
That grant gonna cover the whole cost of that bridge, Andy?
So the matching is only 80%. So the county is responsible for 20%. However, we have our HBP funds or Highway Bridge Program funds. We have money in there to cover that 20%. So that will not come out of my annual operating budget.
Cost of our bridge, that bridge is 1.8 million. Did I see that somewhere?
1.1 is for us. Yep. So Guthrie has two bridges and they're 1.9 and 1.8. Or sorry, 1.9, 1.4. And then Page County has a bridge that's 1.8 million.
So your recommendation is to have the chairman sign it?
Correct.
I'll move them.
I'll say, thank you.
So I have a question. You mentioned that Pot County would be the administrator for the grant for the other two counties as well, and for handling requests and making sure that all of the paperwork is done. Have you talked with the auditor's office about what that process is going to look like? And if there's an admin fee that we can capture for those expenses?
I have not contacted the auditor's office as it relates to that. Would you like me to do that before we approve this agreement?
No, we can go ahead and approve it if that's what the board decides, but I just wanted to point out that there's going to be an overhead cost that goes along with this,
Definitely. Yeah.
because we got to do it right. And it'll have a lot of eyes on it, and it will have timing requirements that go along with certain things.
Correct.
So it'll be a learning process for several people.
We have a bridge in that program right now that Clay County, I think, is the lead agency on that. Is that right? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, we're in a bundle right now for the Magnolia Road Bridge project.
Yeah. Did you
The
get what you-
project started.
Design, we have a meeting tomorrow to confirm final design. I'll stamp it and then bring it to you guys in the coming months.
Okay.
So we're close.
Got a motion by Wickman, a second by Jorgensen to approve trust the chairman to sign federal aid agreement number 4-26 CHBP 019. Is there any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried.
Um, Andy, one more question for you. G30 from L34 to Underwood, is that in your plan?
No, not right now.
Would you take a look at that? L34 is though, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Next up, Josh Wiesner, Assistant Finance and Tax Officer, Auditor's Office. Discussion and or decision to approve and authorize the board to sign resolution number 50-2026 entitled Setting Forth Percentage of Funding for Property Tax Credits. Josh, I was used to you over here.
I moved on you. This just updates the property tax credits and exemptions for assessment year 2025, and we get those from the Department of Revenue every year.
Where is the senior credit, Josh? There is a new credit for seniors that they can take up to $20,000 off their valuation. I don't see that in here. Is that not supposed to be in
I
here?
don't think it starts.
It's a later assessment
I
year.
think that was state, wasn't it?
So this is for assessment year 25. That's going
I
to be
think
the
that one
later
starts
assessment
in
year
26.
This is for year 2025.
for property tax
Assessment year.
assessments.
Thinking too far ahead.
Yeah, I had to learn that we work in 3 different years. Treasurers in 24, auditors 25, assessors 26.
Sorry about that.
Okay. These percentages have consistently decreased over the last 3 years.
Okay, questions, comments? In a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 50-2026.
I'll second that.
Motion by Miller, second by Jorgensen to approve resolution 50-2026. Will you do a roll call? Jamie?
Chairman Jay,
Aye.
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman,
Aye.
Supervisor Jones.
Aye.
And Supervisor Jorgensen.
Motion carried.
Thanks, Josh.
Yep. Next up, Dixie Wilson, Accounting Technician, Auditor's Office. Discussion and or decision to rate change for federal standard mileage rate for the remainder of 2026. Hi, Dixie.
All right.
We had tabled this and you guys wanted to think about it, look into it a little bit more. What are your insights?
Thanks, Dixie, for putting this back on the agenda. I did, Suzanne Watson reached out to us after the meeting last week and provided some guidance on what the other DAP regions are doing within the state. And it was her recommendation that we would follow the federal rate as well. I have heard back from the medical examiner's office that they too would appreciate if the board adjusted to the federal rate. I attended both the SWPCO and Golden Hills meeting where other county supervisors were in attendance, and I asked them for a consensus on what their counties had done, and it was all over the board. Some didn't know anything about the rate increase. Some said, oh yeah, it's just automatic. We go ahead and we adjust whenever the Fed adjusts. And then the other one was, we haven't acted on it. We will consider it. So it's all over the board. Suzanne also pointed out in her research that in her 30 plus years with the county, she remembers a couple of times when we did adjust mid-year to keep up with the federal standards. So that was my research. I don't know what other,
Well, it's always been my understanding. Federal numbers are the gold standard for not just, government entities, but also private entities too. So,
Right, it's the most you can.
yes, and so I said it last week, I'm all for videos.
I think the amount of mileage that Suzanne's department puts on their vehicles is incredible. They need to be compensated for that. And the medical examiner's office, if you're getting up in the middle of the night, it's costing you. Let's reimburse.
I'll make a motion effective August 1st that we move the mileage rate to 76 cents a mile.
I'll second that motion.
Okay with that, Susan?
I am, is that effective date okay with you, Dixie?
Yes.
Got a motion by Wickman, a second by Jones to raise the federal mileage standard to 76 cents as of August 1st. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Dixie.
Thank you. Next up, Jasmine Elmore, Director, Human Resources, discussion and a decision regarding county wellness provider.
Yeah.
Hi, Jasmine.
Hi, good morning. So this is the update for this week. We have the teams that have assembled to review the proposals. We've reviewed 4 total demonstrations so far. We're awaiting scheduling for the remaining individuals. And after those are reviewed, the next step would be to have the group gather and then make their top selections to bring back to the board. And so we would bring that back to the board for review and for your vote. And I'm looking at approximately August 11th for that.
Okay.
So you,
How many's in your group that decides that?
About 8, I believe.
Okay.
so are you meeting with them independently and not with the rest of the team?
Meeting with who independently?
Or getting presentations or demos?
The teams have met, the 4 teams have seen the demonstrations.
Did our review team see them?
That's the review team. Who's
So
seen
we
the 4.
did 2 demos on Friday and 2 demos yesterday.
Who was in attendance for those?
Most people, it was 2 that may not have been. They talked to me about prior engagements, and then 1 I think was missing on Monday, maybe.
I didn't get a notice on that
A notice for,
for the demos.
were you supposed to be? I wasn't sure. I thought it was the 4 or the 8 people who were included that we discussed.
Okay,
I mean,
nope, doesn't
let
matter,
me know.
doesn't matter.
Okay, so we have no decision today.
No,
We're just
that, like I
waiting.
said, that decision will probably likely be on the
August 11th.
11th. Yep. So we plan to do the remaining, I would say probably through the end of next week. And then we'll have something back for you all.
All right.
Have you seen a demo from a front runner so far that you're kind of benchmarking everybody else to?
We've seen the demo from the front runners that have been provided to us from the, from FNIC.
All right. Thanks for the update.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay. Next up, Kristen Bracker, attorney, discussion and or decision on appointing an ADA coordinator. Kristen?
Good morning. I sent an email out last week after there was a request from the states and the state court's ADA coordinator for some coordination efforts. I am not generally somebody who's involved in that. I understand that Garfield, so risk, HR, buildings and grounds, and court security have historically kind of teamed up to coordinate any ADA efforts for the county employees. After kind of being looped into a multi-email chain, I was hoping the board could maybe appoint or select a ADA coordinator point person to kind of navigate any discussions that we'll have. I know the state courts periodically have requests for ADA coordination. And being in our building, sometimes we want to, respond to those. I don't have any dog in the fight here as far as who's involved. It will very much likely not be me, since my office is not often involved in these. And I would like to stay out of them if I can. So I'm just requesting that the board appoint some sort of contact person, whether it's, Garfield or Jasmine, or I don't know that Jason Slack wants to be the point person and he's not in the room.
Can you speak to this?
Yeah, I can speak to it. In years past, normally the HR director is pretty much HR, the ADA coordinator, because it deals with a lot of personnel issues and stuff like that. Normally with the risk managers, part of that too as well, make sure that we're in compliance to those issues. So if you have personnel issues, it's better for the HR to be the primary contact. But in the past with HR risk, and we somewhat works with, facility to make sure that the accommodation is there. It's more in making sure that we're in compliance with the federal laws.
Garfield, what about the public?
Was making sure the building is ADA compliance, like
Yeah.
ramps, like elevators, just basic stuff like that. Now, when it comes to like special accommodations, those are what we look at for special accommodation, making sure ramps and all that kind of stuff. But if they need other special accommodation, that's something that the public has to facilitate and request on their own outside
Okay,
of what the courthouse normally already provides based off of what the federal laws that we have. If they need wheelchairs, they need special canes and stuff like that. That's something that they coordinate outside. But if we have special stuff for employees, like special desks and special chairs, that's something that we coordinate within for our employees. That's what our obligations are for.
okay.
So this request came from the public. This whole thing generated because of a individual who was not able to, they just felt that our accommodations weren't very accommodating for their basic needs. And if you remember, if you go back to early voting for the last presidential election, and we had lots of volume of voters coming up here to the second floor. And there were some that could hardly make the walk. There were a lot of them using walkers, wheelchairs, canes. I mean, it was a struggle to get in here to do early voting. And I could not imagine if we would have had to evacuate the building in a hurry. We had people up here on this floor that I don't feel like we could have gotten them out quickly. And I turned to Garfield and I was like, can we get some wheelchairs up here? Can we do something to be prepared if we've got to evacuate this building? And I thought at that time, well, who owns this? Why don't we have somebody who's responsible for ADA coordination? I see customers, residents come into this courthouse and it is a struggle to get in the door. And I would love to be able to volunteer just to have a wheelchair handy to help people in and out. I do think that we need to be proactive instead of reactive to this request. And Garfield, I get your point, but I think it's two different things. I think personnel or people that work for the county, those are definitely HR matters. This is outside. This is our residents or any visitors to the building or to any of our facilities for that matter. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Have wheelchairs there and escorting people around the courthouse. I think that's totally out of the scope of what, not out of the scope of what an ADA coordinator's job is. But if we're talking about, you know, having, the ability to move people throughout the courthouse, I think that's a totally different job description of what that role of that person is. So you have to hire someone else to do that kind of work. But now ADA coordinator said, if you had someone that's doing voting season, so on the second floor, they're voting. So the coordinator will probably give the auditor's office, say, hey, is there a possibility we can put a voting booth down near close by the door to assist those voters that have some handicap need? Now, that's what an ADA coordinator could possibly do without adding additional body or additional wheelchairs and additional things like that. So that's my opinion.
Would we have to staff that particular voting booth then?
So my main concern is just for a contact person. I know that the state ADA coordinator does a lot for our court system. I mean, I've worked with ADA coordination in the past. It shouldn't roll over to facilities or the courthouse too often because most of the court or the ADA, most of the things that they do involve around like translation and visual impairment and things like that. And they take care of all of that. But if another outside organization, such as the court system, has a concern, I would just like to know where to direct them to. And I mean, like you said, Susan, HR is absolutely the ADA coordinator for our employees because nobody should have to go as an employee and ask outside of HR for an accommodation. But I just want to know where to send people to if there's an outside, request. And if I'm involved in the question or in the conversation, I'm sure that other people have been involved before. And if Jeanette has one person to send this request through, then it would be much easier for her to say, oh, yep, connect with Jasmine or connect with Garfield. And then she'll know that that's taken care of so that, the board doesn't have to get involved. The attorney's office doesn't have to get involved. Let's narrow it down and, kind of figure out who's the person for these requests to go through rather than including everybody else on the email chain. If we can narrow that down, I think that the county will run a little smoother.
And I told Christian, I'd be more than willing to take those requests. It's not any additional work to me, but here, when I say I take the request, it could be to the fact of, we don't have wheelchairs to provide to you. We don't have, walkers to provide to you. Here is a list of places on the outside of the court system, the courthouse system, the county system, that you can go get a wheelchair or you can go get some other people to help navigate you throughout the courthouse. But we do have all the ADA compliance. We have the ramps, we have the elevators, we have the specific doors, we have evacuation plans, we have all the things to do to get you in and out of the courthouse. But if you need special assistance for walking or mobility access, these are outside agencies that will help you do that to get you to do your services, pay your taxes, to go to court and all those kind of things. Because there's multiple agencies on the outside of the court, the county government that assists elderly, assists personnel that need those types of assistance.
I would agree with that, Mr. Coleman. And with that, I think it's important that we name one. And I did see the email that you sent, Kristen. I think that was very appreciative. We have members of our team that take care of all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we have one go-to person, I think that go-to person should be risk management. If it happens to be an employee issue or an employee concern, then it can be provided to HR.
Which it already is, correct?
It is.
So with that, I would name our risk management team and Garfield Coleman as our ADA compliance officer.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Now, this is a response to somebody or has called in and wanting an assistance to get into a department or the assessor's office, that kind of thing. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, so the state ADA coordinator reached out looking for an accommodation for an individual who's going to court.
Okay.
And
she wanted to know, the ADA coordinator wanted to know if we had an option available.
Okay.
And
Okay. So
which
for,
I think Garfield could have very easily answered that. And, you know, I think if in the future, if Jeanette gets an email that is similar from the ADA coordinator or state ADA coordinator, she can just kind of forward it to Garfield and know that it's taken care of. Because I think his answer would have been, you know, more than responsive.
okay, so a
For
court,
instance, if we have,
summons, for instance, is something that somebody has to appear at.
Yeah, people get summoned for all the time for, you know, whether it's their own court, whether it's for jury summons, whether it's for civil court, whether it's as a witness, you know. So I don't know what this person was here for.
Doesn't the court have their own ADA coordinator?
They do have their own ADA coordinator. I think in this case, they were looking for a more facility.
Okay.
A request more related to our facility. Unfortunately, the current design of the courthouse is different than the old design of the courthouse. And there's a significant area where people have to walk from the entranceway to the elevator to get up to the court. That's much longer now than it used to be when you could walk in the door over by the elevators. And so I think that change has probably increased the amount of people who are struggling, you know, if they already struggle with walking or breathing or, you know, going distances. I think that's increased the amount of requests that we have for assistance to get up to.
and I do know we have a couple wheelchairs down in the basement. So as an ADA coordinator, if the request came to me, I'd say, yes, we do have a couple of wheelchairs that we can provide you, but we don't provide the personnel to escort them around the courthouse. That's what this ADA coordinator will most likely will reply back to that and say, yep, we do have a wheelchair, or we do not have a wheelchair, or do we do have a cane, and we do have something of that mobility to help you out throughout the courthouse once you come, once you come on our property, come to our property.
Garfield, do we need to keep one in the lobby?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
The chairs that, I believe we have one downstairs, there might be two. That is the property of our sheriff's department and the jail, and they use that for prisoners that have to be transported.
Okay.
We are in ADA compliance with, the courthouse is in compliance with the ADA for everything that we have, according to Jason Slack, so we're in good shape. Anyway, did we get a vote on that?
No, I got a motion by Wickman and a second by Jones to appoint Garfield Coleman risk management, because Jake could be the backup for you if you're not there. The ADA coordinator, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Can we have HR put that on the job description for future when Garfield leaves? So it's a continuous basis, so the ADA coordinator on risk management, job description, mine and the same coordinator.
Okay, anyone opposed? Motion carried. We got committee appointments.
I was at the breakfast out at West Fair. Susan was. I'm going to say this, they're doing a great job of raising the funds that we're looking to raise to get some things done out there. They're looking to raise 10 million. They're up to 8. So that's great news. And Susan, I'll let you address what they're considering doing with that money if you want.
Oh, I think everybody's aware of the West Fair Capital Project.
Garfield, I do have a question real quick. If it's okay, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay. I noticed that like property taxes and stuff, people line up down at the treasurer's office and to get up to the desk and pay things. There's a lot of people who are walking with walkers and have trouble standing in line. Would it not be a good idea to have some kind of a seating facility down there for those? I'm just
We do
asking.
have benches down there on both sides of the long hallway. If you're talking about putting seats.
Well, I'm just talking about, a section dedicated to the.
I think that's something the board probably can decide how they want to remodel the courthouse. I think it's a good idea, but
has anybody ever fallen down? Because stay standing while they were waiting? Has that ever happened that you know of?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
That might be a good question for Lee Boss, because we drove those folks coming in.
Yeah,
I have-
I'm looking at those long lines, I'm always concerned. People,
But we do have benches on both sides of the hallway, where people can take a break.
thank you.
Jeff, I have talked to Lee Voss, and they do come out and help those people and do a lot of extra. They go above and beyond at the treasurer's office. So she reassured us that
Yeah, well,
she does do the extra mile.
like I said, I would a place with chairs dedicated to the auditors, would that be something that could be handled? So that's all.
You up?
Yeah, last week I didn't mention this, but I went out with the recorder's office. They did a traveling session in Carson, Iowa. Susan was out there with us too. We had a great time. And I'm looking forward to doing that in Carter Lake. I met with our representative Brent Segrist Saturday about the property tax situation. That's an ongoing concern. And I met with Senator Dawson this morning about the same thing. I stood in for Brian at MAPPA last Thursday. There's nothing to report back from that. Went to the Carter Lake Parade on Saturday. We had a great time. And I want to remind everybody that we have a blood drive tomorrow.
Over at Public Health.
Public Health, yes.
Yes, and they're in dire need. I've been on vacation, much deserved, and so I have nothing to report. Susan?
We had a Motorola project update, and we are working to get a structural engineer to look at the courthouse and replacing the tower on top of the courthouse. And then we're working with Orion and those partners to unwind the existing agreement. As Jeff mentioned, I was at the West Fair breakfast. I went to both fairs, county fairs, and it just amazes me the amount of kids and youth and activities that are going on. And our fairs are alive and well, and that's just good to see. And then I had a SWIPCO and a Golden Hills board meeting. The ISAC webinar on property taxes, I didn't get to see it, but I see the link has been posted and I'm anxious to watch it, so.
Kim? No. Okay. All right. Next up, we got a closed session. Kristen Bracker, attorney, closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 21.5, parent 1, parent C, for discussion and or decision on pending or potential litigation.
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Will you do a roll call, please?
Okay.
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller.
Aye.
Supervisor Jones.
Aye.
Supervisor Jordan.
Aye. I'd like to take a couple minute break.
Seconds.